What is up, you guys? Welcome back to the locker room. I am your host and your favorite Kansas City girl, Kennedy Bright. And as always, what is said in the locker room stays in the locker room. Get your playbooks ready, guys. What's good, rookies? Welcome back to another episode. In this week's episode, we are going to be discussing spinning the block, which is cool and all, but we're not wasting gas, okay? Have y'all seen gas prices? Yeah, no, we're not doing it. So last week's episode had some technical difficulties. Like the guest and I, we got together to go ahead and record the episode. I went to edit it, listen to it, and it was a whole bunch of problems. If you follow us on the Instagram, then I already updated you guys. So I was like, okay, what are we gonna do? Trying to get guests also is really hard a lot of times because I want to get people that are on brand. And since my topic, of course, is like athletes and things like that, a lot of times they might not think the same way I do. And so it's always super difficult for one. And then two, I have a problem. My circle's like really small. I don't talk to people. So I'm like, who am I going to talk to, to interview, to have on the show? As well as sometimes people see it as just a hobby, which I mean, it is a hobby. It's fun, but it is also a business for me. So trying to coordinate with people and make sure that they can keep when they can record for episodes, like when I'm depending on people, like for the past year, I've had a problem with that and then I end up just not recording at all. So I decided to go ahead and do an episode this week because I want to give it to you because it's something I actually have been dealing with currently in my life, which is, spinning the block. And I talked about it briefly before, but we're going to discuss it. Guys are known very often for spinning the block. And I've seen a lot of two takes on it. I've either seen one where people are like, oh my God, that's a problem. Why are you letting him come back? That's not a good thing. But I personally, I never saw it that way. I was all for spinning the block. I love it. I'm the kind of person that I see things that maybe you've grown, you've evolved, maybe you genuinely do miss someone, maybe you've noticed some things that you could do better or regret some of the things you did and how you handled yourself. That's where I always see it, where I've always had it come from. But that doesn't mean, that every time someone comes back that it's a bad situation. It doesn't always have to be that way because even me, like I spin the block myself because sometimes I do things, I cut people off or I realize I handled things wrong. Just me, being a person as well. So I do think it's important for you to know that sometimes that can be a good thing when someone spins the block. It doesn't have to be negative. But today I will be discussing the more negative side that I've started to notice in my life as of lately. One of the things is I don't talk to new people. I'm sorry, I kinda talk to the same people, just put them in rotation and, rotate them around. I think that has to do a lot with more like a toxic trait and also has to do a lot with me just doing with what I'm comfortable with and people that I'm comfortable with. But it's never I allow people to come back if they've done something like completely disrespectful, like not that, but you know how it is. But it's never in a situation that is in that way. Just so like, that's clear. Lately, a lot of guys have been coming back into my life. And honestly, I don't really know why. And it's kind of weird. Now, disclaimer, let me just say this first. For the past year, I've been really numb for like over a year now. I've been really numb when it comes to men. I just don't really want to talk to anyone. I haven't been interested. And I think I try to, I don't know, like distract myself and like put myself back out there with guys last year. And it really just made it worse. So when I moved to Dallas in August, literally for the past 10 months, I've just been to myself. I have had no interest in anyone besides my one situation, which that guy is completely different in my life. But other than that, I've had no interest. I've been to myself. So it could have some to do with this, but I don't know. But I just want to put that out there just in case. And that's a story for another day on my male numbness. But I wanted to say that first. One of the guys who came back in my life, which makes it super odd, is he's actually someone who I really, really liked. Like when I tell you, I was like, not in love, but like when you think you're in love with someone, I really liked him. So honestly, the way I'm feeling about him now and my take on the situation is really odd just because this is something that's never been my thing before. So one, I did contact him first, but the reason I did was because I had a dream, right? And in my dream, it was him and his dad, and he was like needed help. He was in trouble. And I was like, oh my God, maybe God, sent me to him my dream to talk to him, whatever. Long story short, I did message him and he responds. He was like, he was so glad I contacted him, that he had actually unblocked me on everything for like over a year now. I've been waiting for me to say something. Even he created a new account just to check up on me and look at my pages, just to see what I was doing. And I'm like, okay, that's really cute. But my first kind of thought was, okay, so why did you not ever contact me on this new account if you just missed me so much and wanted so much? That kind of was my first kind of like, wasn't really feeling it because you've been watching me but never said anything. Okay, interesting. Of course, as the conversation went on, it was like, oh my God, why it's his off season? We need to link up, see each other, whatever that may be. And I'm like, okay, cool, that's fine. Because, that's kind of what you would expect. Like, you'd want someone to want to see you. The first conversation, it was nice. And I mean, it was cool. Like I do want to see him again. It was nice. And just link up with each other, see what's going on. I'm like, sure, why not? Like I'm all for it. I am normally the kind of person that I can stop talking to someone if the conversation like just dies off. Like you've been texting a guy, you talk to a guy, and then all of a sudden I just stop talking one day. I just don't really interact. Like, you stop communication, just see each other on social media. Like I'm all for that. But if someone and I have a falling out, like something happened between us, it's incident, it's blocking, it's arguing, and it's never like a calm situation or closure, that's when walking away is really hard for me. And it gives me a lot of, anxiety about the situation and whatnot. So normally the situation, us having what happened before and us coming back and being, cool, calm or whatever, and wanting to see each other again should give me a lot of relief. It should make me feel comfortable. It should make me feel happy. I'm glad we're gonna, just at least get back on good terms, but that's not how it like felt this time. In the first conversation that we had, it was brought up, mentioned about one of the lies that he had told to me, which led to one of the falling out and how he gaslighting me about the situation in the past. And it kind of rubbed me the wrong way because I just turned out that it was gaslighting. I was correct, and I'm glad he admitted it, but he tried to lie about it still in the beginning. So you're kind of still not owning up to the things you did. You're kind of still giving me the same person that you were before. But since I have actual proof now and all that, now all of a sudden you're admitting it. But even still, about a year or two later, you're not really trying to acknowledge fully, you know what I'm saying, what you've done. So that's like a number two that's kind of making me feel some type of way this time. And normally I would brush it off, but this time I don't feel that way. And as we went to, well, I went to go finish unblocking him on everything that I had. Snapchat in particularly, I saw the last messages that were sent, which was how things ended between us. And as I looked at them, they just really made me feel some type of way because I still was upset with it. Although he wanted to apologize for the way that he handled himself, those messages still bothered me, the way he chose to do things. So I'm still sitting here like, I'm not really feeling this. And I'm like, Kennedy, breathe. We said we're going to give people second chances, which I do. I believe in second chances. Just, try not to look too much into the past or into the old messages and just see how he handles himself now coming forward and, see what goes on. Weeks go by and we like, talk here and there, no real official plans yet still of us meeting up or anything, the visit between us. And we talk on the phone one night for 5 hours. We like FaceTimed. We're on the phone for 5 hours. And so I just said, you know what, forget it. I finally went in and I just asked, I was like, okay, what's going on? Because guys will always to me give you the, oh, I'm so glad you contacted me. I'm so glad we're talking again. I've missed you, blah, 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 blah. But never say like what they actually miss about you. What are they glad, to hear from you? And they give you this whole grand layout, but it's never really anything that's like sounding like real, right? So we've been talking, and the whole time, honestly, it's been sounding real. I'm starting to catch a vibe. One, it hasn't seemed like anything's changed, for one, like our conversations. It kind of sounds the same. I'm not really seeing much involvement, which I will be honest, I don't think I've evolved that much either. So, I'll give him some slack on that. But it's starting to become to where he's giving a lot of compliments and being real comfortable complimenting me, physically, the things he misses me, in a sexual way, all that kind of stuff. And I'm just like, why are we talking about that? Like what? Like, so I'm not hearing compliments about like just, Kennedy as a whole person, but we're talking about this particular area. So now I'm like, all right, you know what? Now it's time for me to go in. Now it's time for me to ask the questions. And I won't speak for all girls, but I feel for me personally, I am normally the kind of person that I will sit here and talk to a guy and I'll be thinking, okay, so like what's going on? What does he want from me? What are we about to do? What are like kind of his expectations, but I will never actually say anything to them, especially since we just started talking in general or we're re-talking again. And, I don't want to kill the vibes or, I don't want to sound ungrateful, like, just because I'm used to being gaslit. So I won't say anything, I kind of will do the go with the flow thing. Even when I first talk to guys, I never really ask their intentions because one is kind of awkward for me. I don't really know how I'm supposed to say that. Like, when do you say it? Because, you ask a guy all of a sudden you're looking for too much. I'm like, I never told you what I was looking for. Like, I just asked you what you were looking for. So I normally just won't do that. But also, I really like communicating with people. I like talking to people. Like, I could never meet you, but I like talking to you. So I don't want to like ruin like not having someone to communicate with. So normally I just stay quiet and I won't say anything. But the conversations with him are just giving a lot of like reminding me of the past, like it's the same thing that I just didn't really like. And I'm also getting a sense of like, okay, where his focus is at this point because it's not really seeming in a direction that I guess you could say I'm now headed. So I said, forget it, not this time. Like, I'm gonna say something, I'm gonna ask you about it. So I asked him, like, flat out, like, okay, what do you want, from me? What are you looking for in general? And like, Kennedy, like, you wanna meet and all this? Like, what do you want? Do you wanna talk to me again? Are we just catching up? Because that's fine. We haven't talked in a while, we can catch up and just be cool. Like, what is it that you're looking for? What is it that you want? Honestly, it was just him talking out the side of his neck. He apologized. I didn't like the way I handled our situation. It ended wrong. I just really want to see you. He's focused on his career, which they always love to say. So he doesn't have time, for a relationship. He doesn't have time to be with someone. He doesn't have time, to, like really commit and all of that because, he's just really focused on that. And I'm like, this is the same stuff that I've heard for years. Okay. So linking as friends, I'm like, that's cool. I wouldn't be, mad about it. He's like, oh yeah, you can come see me, like whatever. I'm like, cool, we can link or whatever. We'll see what's up. But I asked him, I was like, but are you wanting to hook up? Like if I say to you, like, because I'm just not really on that right now, which I genuinely am not. I don't want to. Is that going to be a problem? Because I'm not going to come see you. And I'm not going to. I'm not gonna. I don't want to be uncomfortable with your advances, and at the same time, I don't want to do that and then you be like, bro, why'd you come? So what is your intentions on us linking? That's kind of where I'm at. You know what this man says to me? I mean, I understand, and I respect where you're at, but I really would hate if we linked and we didn't, hook up. That would make me like really sad and like laughed or whatever. I'm like, what did you like? I'm like, what did you just say? So at that point, I'm like, no, I kind of understand. I see where it's at, and it's not really it. One thing about me and guys and just doing anything physical, I have to be comfortable with you just in general, like just really comfortable with you. And also just have some type of level of connection. Now, mind you, after what just happened between he and I, like the how we ended, any comfort, any security, any connection that I had really was like fully severed because I mean he I would say he burnt the bridge down, but like I mean, here we are trying to rebuild it, but he really burnt it down at that point. Like he crossed the line. I was really done. Like there was no type of connection. So even thinking about having that with him, it's just I cannot be physical with you at all because yeah, I can't do that to myself. I'm sorry, I just can't. I know for a fact, like it's just that's not gonna work for me. Besides the fact of the connection and everything being gone, I don't feel that he's changed in any way. Like, why would I do this? Like, you're getting the benefit of enjoying Kennedy again, okay? But what am I getting out of it? Like, literally, I'm getting nothing because you're giving me the same person that you were before, and you're not really owning your choices. Our conversations are still very plain subtle. It's the same things of you just focusing on your career, the same excuses, the same thing that you said before. There's nothing that feels different, nothing feels new. There doesn't feel like you're moving in a way that you want to have me truly a part of your life because, you know, just that was one of the things as well. Like, I want to be fully a part of your life. And I'm not getting anything like everything that was a problem before. I'm not seeing even one of those things being resolved and us redoing this again. So I'm not about to waste gas. Okay. Spinning this block with you for what? Like, I'm just going to stay parked in my garage and we're going to do that. And we're going to work from home, quarantine. Okay. And I don't want to push things and hurt myself by giving in to what you want. Like, I don't want to do that either. This was the first time that I've kind of been in a place of like, okay, I kind of see what people mean by he's spinning the block because he's used to you. He's spinning the block because he's used to you. He's spinning the block because he thinks you're easy or whatever, all the things you've always heard. This was the first time that I'm really starting to see this. And I don't know if maybe I'm in a different place now in a good way where I'm able to see that for myself for the first time, but I'm definitely experiencing it right now. And on top of that, and to be clear, when it comes to the communication, yes, we just talk, and I'm even if we are talking, I'm not the kind of person that you have to talk to me every day, right? But I like communication. I like to be in the know. I like to know what's going on. I do not like the kind of people who are active on social media, who leave me on open, who forget to snap or text back. I don't like people who, like I said, or you watch my story, but you want to swipe up, but you can't have an adult conversation with me. Like, we're not in high school, we're not in college. If something's going to be here, you're not going to play the, react to my Insta or Snap story just so that you can start that quick little conversation and be like, bro, you should come over. I miss you. Like, no, like, I want you to be a man about it. I want you to tell me how you feel. I want you to communicate with me. I want you to hang out with me. Like, we're going to do things. You're not going to keep using your career and your sports and your time anymore as an excuse, because I'll get into that in a second. But we're just not going to use that as an excuse. And that's just where I'm at. And I've noticed for these past weeks or month or so, I've been really paying attention to his actions. They've been the same. Like, I probably could count on my hand how many times I've talked to this man in, oh, about almost 2 months now. And it's not gonna cut it. Okay. Those things are very triggering to me, and he knows that, and you're still doing them. So at this point, not only do I feel like you're trying to spin the block because you just want to experience me again, you're trying to do a drive-by. Like, no, like, that's not it. No, you're gonna come in, we're gonna cook dinner, we're gonna eat. Like, you're not gonna park on the side, you're gonna park in the driveway. Like, I'm being extra now, but I just noticed that it's just that's not really it. Okay. And I'm not enjoying the constant compliments about me sexually. I don't find those flattering anymore. Like, I don't care. I don't care how I did enjoy talking to you. You did make me feel good or whatever. I don't want to hear that no more. Like, I want something that's like real connections and real things. And honestly, I'm not getting that from you. So I'm okay with it. We're going on to boy number two, which is kind of a little different situation of another spinning the block situation. So he and we talked, we had a falling out, and I still to this day, it's never been fully made clear as to how our falling out happened. It just kind of happened. Then some drama happened afterwards, and it just, y'all, it's really weird. The reason that his is different is because, first off, when I talk to guys in general, I talk to guys with an intention to date. I never talk to guys with an intention to hook up. So I do want to make sure that that is clear. He also is one who is definitely husband material. Okay, he's very different. Like, on paper, he's a perfect husband. Like, everyone's like, girl, he's flawless. Okay, the resume is perfect. I went straight to him like I did the other guy. We're hanging out, we're talking, and I said, okay, what are you looking for? What do you want from me? Like, what's happening? Because I honestly still don't even know what happened last time, but I do want to know what is going on, because I believe, in learning from my past, I'm huge on not repeating it with the same person. So tell me what I've done wrong. Tell me what was an issue so I can fix my things. You can fix your things. Like, we should be able to talk about these things so that we do not constantly, repeat past situations and, make it better versus we're just going to keep doing the same thing and we're in a cul-de-sac, and we're lost. Like, we're not going to do that. He's bothered, okay, by me asking these questions and just not liking me trying to figure out, okay, where we're moving, trying to figure out some things that once we're done, I can only own up to what I do. So I'm asking, okay, so what were some of the things that were, because I heard some things through other people that he had said about me. Do you see what I'm saying? So I'm like, I want to know these things. Please share them with me and let's talk about it. Right. And he's trying to be like all cute, like, oh, like, as I'm talking, I ask him the question. He just keeps like smiling at me and trying to kiss me on my cheek and like cuddle. And I'm like, stop. Like, let's really ask these questions so I can tell you're like avoiding it. Like, how old are we? You're 26. Like, grow up. He's gonna hear this and be like, damn, no, like, I'll say it to your face. But I'm like, okay, like, let's be an adult about it. He's always such a man. He has all these things, his house, and he has these cars. Like, okay, that's fine. So be a man and let's discuss this. Like, we're not gonna sit here, you're not a kid. Like, he always gonna act like he's so above me. Well, I'm gonna need you to act like it in this moment. So I'm already kind of upset and it's just throwing me off because he's trying to like avoid my questions and avoid everything. He finally gets to the point, I'm like, flat out tell me. And he's like, I'm looking for friends with benefits. I have no room, to give space to another human. I'm focused on getting and making much of money, like his career, whatever. I'm like, all right, interesting. The reason with this person, it's like I said, very bothersome to me, is because he always has been such a huge, big talk about like right now he's looking to start a family. He's building for his family. And he's looking for his wife. Like, that's all the things that we've always talked about. He's a huge selling dreams person. He's very much so like, oh, I know this neighborhood I want us to live in. Oh my God, this is us and our kids. Like, he's huge. And I'm starting to notice some patterns with him. At first, like, it was cool. But one time we were on FaceTime and he was hanging out with his brothers. And I don't know, we were talking about something. And he literally was like, oh, I'll fuck your mind up before I fuck you. I'm like, what? Yeah, he literally said that. And I'm like, well, I kind of brush it off. But one of my friends had told me, he was like, yeah, like, I don't know what he does to these girls, but like every girl he messes with, like, she a girl turns out crazy afterwards. And like now I'm starting to see it. Like, you say that you mind fuck girls before you actually fuck her. Okay, so that's one. And two, I'm experiencing firsthand is what I'm trying to say. I'm experiencing firsthand witnessing you selling dreams and I mean, like, when I tell you, like, pictures of like the type of kids, type of house, like, I mean, like, I've never been with someone who sells dreams like the way this man does. Like, he needs to be a real estate agent. Okay, like, it's crazy. Between all these things, I'm like, okay, now you say all this, right? But now you're saying you're looking for friends with benefits, but you've been talking about this empire, this family you wanted to build, these children, all this stuff. So how does that work? Like, how are you going to be looking for this wife? How are you going to be doing all this when you're now telling me that you don't even have room to give to another human? You don't have room to date. You don't have room to be with someone. So now I'm like, are you lying? Right? Some things also get brought up. I just want to entertain this friends with benefit thing, just because friends with benefits thing, just because I want to see what he was gonna say. Like, I'm like, this is some BS, but I want to know what you're gonna say. There were comments that were made about how, oh yeah, like he ain't really been with nobody, nothing, did all this. But then, long story short, I'm just not putting his business out here in case people are able to connect who he is. You're basically telling me one thing, but now you're saying another in regards to like who you're messing with, not by name, but like how many girls or if you're messing with someone. But I'm always the one that, oh, you have all these guys, whatever. I appreciate honesty and truth, and I feel like if a man cannot be honest about his sexual life, you do not need to be involved with him because that's when men give you STDs. That's when they give you things because they're lying and they can't even be honest about their own life. So now it's another huge flag on top of everything else. And like I said, I was just really thrown off by all of them, but definitely with him because, like, mind you, me and him have never been together like that. So I'm like, where are you getting this idea? Where are we getting this process that you think could come to me and say, oh, I want to be friends with benefits? That's what I'm looking for. But you've been saying to me all the time how much you are looking for a wife, you're wanting all these things, and now you're flipping. So basically, you're selling dreams and you're truly being a liar. It's giving narcissistic. It's very much so giving abusive. Like, it's giving my manipulator. Like, I'm not. I'm not feeling it. Like, that's super weird to me. And like the thing with this guy in particular, it's never been anything with him less than like we're getting married. Like, that's all that has been with him. Like, we're getting married, and I'm the kind of person, I don't do hookups. We're either friends or we're talking to date and be together. It's that simple. That does not mean that we're gonna get married because you might not be the person. But I don't just do hookups. Like, you're not gonna meet a guy that's gonna just say, "Oh, I used to just hook up with her." That doesn't happen. You can't find anyone if we were dating. Like, that's it. And like I said, especially with this one, like, it's been very open. Like, I'm talking about picking out houses. I'm talking about picking out picking out like outfits for kids. Like, we've done a lot. So that's why I'm like, how all of a sudden now you ain't got time for all this? But this is what you were saying. So we using all this to sleep with me. So now I'm like, he in particular, he's giving. Like I said, he's giving narcissistic. So there's just that. And I just really like, as he's saying it, because we kind of run in the same circle. I'm just feeling like, I don't know what you heard about me, but you can't get no pussy out of me. Like, I don't know what you heard about me. I know that song. Like, I don't know what you heard about me, but it's not it. Okay. I'm very tired of men, especially athletes, using the excuses of focusing on their careers and focusing on making money. No, 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 just admit it, babes. It's just not me. When men spin the block, you know, they always want to mention that they're still focusing on their careers and money. They don't have time to give to another woman. But they can mess with multiple women, at once, but they can't be with one. Okay, anyways, you don't have time to get to know me. You don't have time to understand me or communicate with me, asking about my day, but you have time to sleep with me. Right? That makes sense. Oh, okay. At the end of the day, just admit it has nothing to do with your career. It has nothing to do with your aspirations to make money. You just don't want those things with Kennedy. You just don't want to commit with me. And you just need to be man enough just to say it. Just be like, Kennedy, it's not you. I don't see us being together. I don't see us. I'm not interested in you in that way. I don't like you that way. I'm not attracted to you. Like, whatever it is, because I guarantee you, you meet another girl. You say this to me, right? Let's say I go alone with the friends benefits. You say this to me. We're vibing. And you turn around and you meet another girl and you're able to give her all those things that you just told me you weren't able to give. How does that work? It's because you didn't want to give those things to me. Do you see what I'm saying? You make time for who and things you want. You balance those things. And I'm learning now sit here and really listen and pay attention to the things that these men are saying to me and understanding like what's happening, because I'm like, wow, no, 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 I hear you. You're saying that you're focused on, making more money, multiple streams of income. You're focused on your career, whatever. And Kennedy, I don't have time to even deal with you or your BS. You don't have time to give to me. You do not want to be with me. That's what you need to say. And honestly, before I might not have ever been able to handle it and I might not like it, but I'm going to respect you at the end of the day because right now you're just lying to me. So I'm not respecting it. Always like, I'm not ready for a relationship. I don't want a relationship with you. It's always like a with you. Like I just add the with you at the end now. And I'm okay with it. I'm not for everybody. I'm a very acquired taste. So that's fine. But I'm not going to let you experience me and get to use me in the meantime until you find your dream girl. I'm not doing that again. I'm no one's back pocket girl. You're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? I'm not sitting on your bench anymore. I'm not practice squad until you find your starting player. I'm not a field player. I'm not someone you just put in at practice as a filler. Like that's not happening anymore. Like we're not doing that. So no, I'm sorry. Like I can't. Through I think my depression that I've had, like especially this year, and then like after going to California and stuff, I've really in like California in March, I've really gotten to a place where I'm super comfortable being alone. Like I'm okay with being by myself. I'm okay with not talking to anybody. Um Normally I'm not. Normally I am a huge like, okay, fine, I don't want to be alone. So, I'll talk to guys. I'll entertain them even if I know like I don't really like want much with them, especially the ones that I know nothing's going to happen because I can't get feelings for you in that way because what, like I know what's up, so I can't, break my own heart, but I just use them as fillers and people to talk to, just because, I don't like where I'm at, but mentally, it's a distraction, but I don't want that anymore. I'm kind of okay just being depressed by myself. Okay. So the spinning the block for me, it doesn't really satisfy me anymore. It doesn't really, tickle my feathers. It doesn't make my toes tingle. Like I'm not impressed. Plus I now see that, I'm really plus now I can see I'm the one you truly don't want because you're coming back months and years later and you're still offering the same things you were before, which means you don't want me. You don't want things to change and I'm just not really the person for you. So that's one thing I'm experiencing. When you come back, I'm offer second chances and I see how you are. I'm noticing like, okay, cool. This isn't really it. I'm just tired, of the excuses and I don't want them anymore. I don't want any more selling dreams. Ignore and especially with athletes, I've given them, like I said before, a little too much room, to move around with their career focus and all that. No, you can focus on your career and practice and all that. You can maintain because if you can balance me and 20 other girls, you can balance just me. You just don't want to. And I'm not going to keep letting you use that excuse anymore of your career, practice. I need to focus. Like, no, I'm not going to let you use that for every single gaslighting comment that you want to make. Like, it's not going to work anymore between me. I'm not settling anymore for what I didn't sign up for just so I have someone to be around, just so just to see like, oh, maybe it'll lead to a relationship. It's not. Nothing's gonna happen. Where we're at is where we're at. That's what you want. That's what you want. And I'm not gonna keep being with people who, when I leave, I feel some type of way. No, that's not gonna happen. So if that means I still continue to have to be by myself, then that's completely fine. I'm not saying that you have to literally make me your girlfriend right there and right there. No, the point is you need to be moving towards what I'm moving towards. So if you're not even looking to get into a relationship with someone, then you don't need to talk to Kennedy. I'm sorry, you just don't. So that doesn't mean that as we, start dating, leading towards seeing if we're going to be in a relationship, that doesn't mean that we're going to work. No, it could. We could fall off. It could not work. That's fine. But the point is, you're not going to sit here and say that that's what you want. But the point is, you're not going to say to me, that's not what you're looking for. And then I'm still going to entertain it. Like, no, we're going in two completely different directions. Like, baby, you're going to the south. I'm going to the north. Like, I'm not about to go down the south. Eh, Listen, let's think of direction. If I'm in the Midwest, that's where I live, Kansas City, Missouri. I'm in the Midwest. If I tell a guy I want to go to Minnesota and he's like, "Oh, that's cool. Like I do want to go to Minnesota, eventually, but not right now. Like right now I'm just trying to go to Texas." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." He's like, "So do you want to come with me to Texas?" Okay. Cuz we go to Minnesota eventually. Why would I go to Texas if I am trying to go to Minnesota? It's the same thing with settling for what a guy wants when he doesn't want what you want. That's the same thing. Baby girl, you're going the opposite direction. Complete opposite direction. You know how long it would take you to get from Texas all the way back around and up to Minnesota if you ever get there with that person? Or baby, you're just down here in Texas and now you're stuck. You stuck down here, babes. You was stuck in San Antonio, okay? And you was far from Minneapolis. Like, no, so I'm not doing it anymore. No, I'm gonna be like, oh, you're not headed to Minnesota? Oh, it's okay. I'll catch a new ride. I'm not gonna be hitchhiking no more. You know what I'm saying? And going in a completely different direction. Like, that's not what I'm gonna do. Spinning the block, like I said, it can be good or it can be bad, but I think it's all about your approach and your game plan. So I think when you are in these situations, you're dealing with them, the first thing you need to do is you need to be thinking about, okay, like, why are you back? What do you want this time? What are you looking for? How will this time be different? What's your goal? And just simply have these conversations, have simple conversations with them and see how they act, see if they've changed. Remember the things they did, or they'll remind you. And just believe what they show you and not what they tell you. Because, like I said, some people can come back around and really have changed and grown, but you have to see that for yourself. And you're really starting over. And you need to do it as a starting over moment. And even when you meet new people, you need to ask them straight up, what are you looking for? What do you want? Where do you headed towards? I know it can be awkward and guys can get on you and be like, bro, she want too much. It's okay. Girl, it's okay. Ask him because you really need to know those things and he needs to let you know so you know where you're moving in life and you know what direction that you're heading in. Don't let somebody, drag you back somewhere that you don't want to be because then you're gonna end up in a worse place than you were for no reason. Like just don't do it. Okay. We don't need to go back around in a cul-de-sac and do the same things that we used to. I've had, my talks and discussions and I really am, just not the person that I was before and I don't want to be with the same people that I were anymore. Like I said, I'm all for spinning the block, but we're not about to waste gas, guys. Like, we're not wasting gas anymore. Gas prices are high as hell. Okay, we're not doing it. So, if we're gonna spin the block, we're gonna be going half on the gas. I'm just playing. Thank you guys so much for listening to this week's episode. I can't wait to see you for another one. As always, with Seven Locker Room stays in the locker room. See you in the next one. And be sure to follow us on KCLockerRoomTalk.com. Love you guys. Bye. Love you guys. Bye.